Hey everybody, welcome to Zanpakuto Explain, the series where I try to explain every Zanpakuto in Bleach, and today we're talking about the main villain Zanpakuto, Sosuke Aizen's very own Kyoka Suigetsu. And even though he is one of the main characters, he's the central villain through the majority of the series, there's really not that much to talk about with Kyoka Suigetsu, but it is sort of hard to explain, so this might run on a bit long. I don't really know. We're only going to be talking about one ability, but it would take a fucking while to explain, I guess. Okay, so first off is Kyoka Suigetsu translating to Mirror, Flower, Water, Moon, which actually, it's sort of important in the story. It's probably the only time like a translation is like directly important in the story. Like the meaning of a Zanpakuto is like impacts the story. Where it's mentioned that Aizen told the Gote 13, like he told all the members of the Court Guard squads that Kyoka Suigetsu created illusions by like reflecting water or something. And obviously the name Kyoka Suigetsu backs that up. But it's actually just making reflections out of nothing, basically. He just makes illusions out of nothing. Okay, so now we're on to the release command, which actually leads directly into the ability of Zanpakuto. So, the release command is Shatter Kyoka Suigetsu, and that's the key to activating his ability. So, if you see him release his Zanpakuto, you're under his effect forever until he decides to take it off you. And in order to activate the ability, he has to release it in front of you, and then release it again to actually put you under the illusion. And then release it again to get you out of the illusion, but you're still under his Zanpakuto, even if he takes you off the illusion. He can just activate it again, and you'll be under it again. No matter where he is, he can have it on infinite people, and it lasts hundreds of years from what we've seen. Or at least 100 years. But it's probably infinite, you could assume. Okay, so now we're on to what the ability actually is, and that is perfect hypnosis. Well, the way Aizen explains it is it's the ability to make people misidentify people or things. So once you're under it, he can make a dragonfly look like a dragon, or like he can make like a flower bed look like a swamp. And why did I say enunciate the P so much? That's kind of weird. But yeah, so it's just perfect illusions, essentially. He manipulates all 5 of your senses, so it's very hard to tell the difference, but it is possible. Like, Unohana is able to see that something's wrong with the corpse that Aizen... Because Aizen made everybody see, I think he's dead, and then Unohana was investigating the corpse, but she noticed something was wrong with it. She just didn't know what exactly was wrong with it. So even someone as like knowledgeable as Unohana couldn't tell quite it was fake. It was just that something was up. So yeah, it's an incredibly powerful illusion. And so something else to note is that it probably needs a base. The majority of times we see the Zanpakuto, it's being placed, like the illusion's being put on someone. So like Yuha sees Aizen as Ichigo, and then like the captains see Momo as Aizen. There was only one time in the series, to my knowledge, that people were being manipulated from just nothing. Like they were seeing something that just straight wasn't there at all. So yeah, it normally needs a base to operate on, which fits with his introduction, because he specifically says like, oh, I can make you see like this as this. So like he can make you see a flower bed as a swamp. That fits in with the whole thing that it needs a base to cast an illusion on. So he can't quite make like nothing out of... He can't quite make like something out of nothing. So he can't make you see like a person that isn't there. Or like a play. He can't make you see like the sky as like a fucking ground. So it does have some limits. But for the most part, it is perfect hypnosis. Okay, another important part to mention is that he's Kyoka Suigetsu now because of the Hogoku, so he fused with it. So he counts as a sword. So if he releases the sword near you, he doesn't even have to have the sword out. If you're looking at Aizen, you'll get put under Kyoka Suigetsu, which is a huge buff, obviously, because I think a warrior would have a pretty okay time fighting someone without looking at the sword, but it's like impossible to fight someone without looking at them unless you're blind. So yeah, that's a big buff. But Kyoka Suigetsu is also weakened in the fact that now Aizen cannot control what his opponent sees. Like, he's fighting Yuha, and then, like, Yuha stabs him, and he's like, oh, like, you're seeing me as Ichigo right now. So, yeah, he can't control what his opponent sees, which is a shame, I guess, but he can also summon Kyoka Suigetsu whenever he wants, which is interesting, I guess. So, yeah, there's some buffs with fusing with Kyoka Suigetsu, and there's, like, a negative part, but for the most part, I think it makes this Shikai a lot better. There was actually a weakness, though, to Kyoka Suigetsu, and that is if you touch the Zanpakuto, you can't be affected by it. So, like, if you touch the Zanpakuto, you won't be affected by the illusions, which isn't, like, a super practical weakness, because, like, how are you going to expect to touch someone's Zanpakuto in the middle of a fight, especially when the guy can manipulate your senses? Like, you can, even if you grab a hold of his Zanpakuto, there's no way to know that it's really him or not. But it is a weakness. Okay, so now onto his Bankai. We don't know what it is. We don't know its name. We don't know its ability. We don't know what it looks like. We don't know anything about it, essentially. I mean, in the manga, we know literally nothing about it. The only information we have comes from the novel Spirits Are Forever With You. In that, it is mentioned that only people who are under the effect of his Shikai can be affected by his Bankai, but there's a lot of, like, that doesn't really give us a lot of hints on what it does. And again, that's all the information we got. So hopefully we learn more about it. And if we do learn more about it, I'll definitely make a video on it. But yeah, as of now, that's the only information we have. He does have a Bankai, though. I know it's a popular theory that I actually thought for a while, too, that he doesn't have a Bankai, but no, he does have one. So that's something. Okay, well, that's it for Kyoka Suigetsu. And again, despite trying my best to make this like a condensed video, because there really shouldn't be that much to talk about with Kyoka Suigetsu, but it's still 7 minutes of pure talking about Kyoka Suigetsu. So that's something. Kind of negative. I want it to be shorter. I don't like making like this long of a video, and I don't think it's necessary, but I really can't figure out how to condense it any more than I already have. So yeah, next one's going to be on Sode no Shirayuki, Rukia's Zanpakuto. It's one of my favorite Zanpakuto, so I'm really excited to talk about it. I hope you're excited for that too. Please subscribe or something if you want to see that. I'll be covering every single Zanpakuto with at least once a week posting one of these. I like having the short ones paired with the long ones, so like I'll upload like a long one and a short one on the same day. So hopefully we're going to get through this soon. Unfortunately, after Sode no Shirayuki, I'm going to be making tons of videos about, like, fucking resurrections literally nobody has heard of before. Like, fucking Volcanica. Obviously, you might know what Volcanica is, but it's not a very popular Zanpakuto. Because it's only got a couple minutes of screen time, or a couple, like, pages of fucking panel time. And there's going to be a lot of those. The Hueco Mundo arc or whatever introduced a lot of resurrections that are only seen for a couple pages. And I'm going to be talking about every single one. So be excited for that, I guess. Or not. I'm not excited for that. That's going to be really fucking boring to make, if I'm being honest.